SCP-123-Ex. Accidents happen. Author's content warning, suicidal ideation, and sexual mutilation. Item identification number, SCP-123-Ex. Object class, explained. Special containment procedures, non-applicable. Description: SCP-123-X, formerly known as Person of Interest 11213, Otane Trevisan, was a 23-year-old male of Italian descent born on 7/11/1907 in New York City, New York, who was believed to be anomalous. Prior to the events detailed in Addendum 123-3, SCP-123-EX was theorized to be capable of causing statistically improbable outcomes, all of which would end in SCP-123-X's favor. SCP-123-X's personality has been described as easily agitated and prone to overreaction. SCP-123-X has previously been affiliated with a local university, but eventually ceased affiliating with it. It is unknown what caused this change. SCP-123-X was contained by the Foundation between 11/19/1928 and 5/21/1930, contained at Site-11, formerly located in Redacted, Illinois. It was contained within a standard humanoid containment cell 1A. Archivist note: see document AWQ-12 for more information. SCP-123-X was officially contained as an SCP object on 12/20/1928 after what were believed to be accurate tests compiled by Dr. Sharp and presented before the O5 Council. SCP-123-X was classified as Euclid while in containment. Discovery: SCP-123-X was captured following a raid on GOI-70 Chicago Outfits in collaboration with the Bureau of Prohibition on 11/1/1928. The Bureau had received an anonymous tip claiming that Person of Interest 523, Julius Sawteeth McGowan, member of GOI-001 Chicago Spirits, was working at an illegal brewery operated by GOI-070, and that Person of Interest 523 was attempting to harm the latter's manufacturing efforts. Foundation officials contacted the Department of the Treasury requesting a cooperative operation to stop manufacturing efforts of GOI-070 and to arrest Person of Interest 523. 20 agents were dispatched from each organization. During the raid, the brewery caught fire, causing an explosion that resulted in the building's collapse. All suspects were killed except for SCP-123-X. Archivist note: for the sake of easy reading, the following documents have been ordered linearly. Documents have been selectively edited to help facilitate that goal. For full documentation on SCP-123-X, see document ASFINI-1. Addendum 123-A. On 11/17/1928, SCP-123 was asked to write down the events that occurred within the brewery before its destruction. It was around 11 a.m., and I was helping a few harps move some barrels around when I heard the gunshots from outside. Then someone yelled something about coppers in the building, and I start feeling scared. You see, the boss had the dry heads and coppers off our backs. It was a real smart operation, the brewery was. The boss has the Prohibition guys paid off, and we kept the profits. Every dry head in the city was drinking like the rest of us. The two harps ran off somewhere, and I sat down. I've been pinched before, so I knew what to do. When you work in the business, you learn to take a pinching every once in a while. I lit myself a fag and sat down near some barrels. The one thing that I noticed was this guy near the window. I remember him looking scared, but I can't recall anything big, other than he looked like he saw a ghost. I think he might have had something in his mouth, like he was one of those squirrels. It didn't look right. I call out to him, and he tumbles back and falls into some barrels. I remember alcohol going everywhere. I must have dropped my cigarette, 'cause I remember it all just catching fire. He starts screaming, running all over the place. Some of the harps start getting some water buckets and throwing some water onto him, but it didn't work. They were all just dead the moment they did it. He was still running around screaming, and he was bumming into so many different things. Then he bums into the brewer, and the entire thing just explodes. And the entire building starts to shake, and it were no normal shaking either. It was like the foundation itself was gonna collapse on itself, crushing all of us. Around this time, I started getting afraid. I couldn't even force myself to move. That's how afraid I was. It's in that type of moment that makes a body start praying. It wasn't something I thought about. I just started doing it. I don't believe in God or anything like that, but my mother taught me the Lord's Prayer. Then I'm glad for her teaching me that, because I repeated it 1,000 times in that building. The building began to shake, and I closed my eyes. Again, I'm praying, and then I hear the giant boom, like dynamite. I open my eyes, and I see the building around me destroyed. I'm the only one alive. I thought I was dead at first, but only after looking down and seeing I was practically untouched. There was always this large patch of roof with nothing on it, and it always leaked water. I was in that patch. I guess you could say I'm the luckiest man alive. Addendum 123-F. The following entries are from SCP-X's diary prior to the discovery of the events detailed in Addendum 123-D. Entry 12-1-1928 to 4/30/1930. Access granted. 12-1-1928. Doctors gave me this diary. They said it was to help me get used to my situation. I don't think I could ever get used to a situation like this. I haven't been able to talk to anyone since I arrived here. I hadn't even a single beer. What has this world gone to? 12-7-1928. I talked with the doctors. Nice one called Sharp asked me a bunch of questions. Asked me about my friends, the outfit, etc. I didn't pinch on them, but I get the feeling they're not after them. 12-9-1928. I heard some old Hebrew lady cry tonight. The walls are thin. Something about a funeral. I don't think this is the first time she's been told something like this. Asked Sharp how long she's been here. Said it wasn't for me to know. I don't think he knows. 12-11-1928. I asked Sharp about why I was here. He said nothing beyond that I was special. Wanted him to explain, but said it wasn't my place to know. I think I'm in an asylum. 12-13-1928. Can't sleep. Heard shooting and shooting from the other rooms. I've been stuck in this small room for the past month at this point. I don't even know if it's been a month. They gave me a clock and a calendar, but I don't know if it's true or not. Maybe it's been a week, maybe 2 or 3, maybe even a couple of months. They keep the lights on. Asked the doctor about it the other day. Told me it was to keep an eye on the patients. Why does this asylum have guns lying around the place? 12-14-1928. Got something from under the door. Small packet of papers. Names on it. Say I'm anomalous. Not sure what the word means, but I don't think it's a good thing. Apparently I'm capable of causing statistically improbable outcomes. I'm lucky, if I'm reading this correctly. If you could even call this luck. Arrived with another thing, something about a gang called Chicago Spirit. GOI-1, they say. Something about the dry heads and cooperation and some other shit. 12/19/1928. I asked the doctors for some books or papers. Haven't gotten anything since the papers from under the door. I shoved those things under my pillow. I have nowhere else to put it other than possibly the toilet, but I don't want them asking me why my toilet is filled with secret documents. Doctor said no. I swear if I don't get something, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. 12/20/1928. Doctor's making me do simple tests. He told me afterwards that I'd be ready to interact with some other skips. 12/25/1928. Questions, 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 and even more goddamn questions. Been hammering me for days now, all day. Doctor's droning on and on about questions that I don't care enough to answer, but will have to anyways. Almost makes me wish I was crushed under that damn building. Terp seemed to look me in the eye as these doctors yammered. They told me he was so sorry. I think he meant it. 2/1/1929. I finally got a newspaper. Came with my food under the door. Best feeling in the world. Stuff about the stock market, but I didn't care. As long as I got something to read. Whoever's doing this is my hero. 2/2/1929. I got something different. Again, it came from the food. A report-looking thing. On the front it had the words "Destroy after reading" written on it. I took it up and read the summary. It was about this guy who could control electricity. I think I should be freaked out by this, but I'm numb to it. I guess being locked up for the past 3 months in this hellhole can do that to you. It began with his abilities, intelligent and anomalous. Big picture of him, it's the guy, the one I killed. Apparently he was some big shot at a gang called the Chicago Spirit. Even a made man, had long teeth to shock people. Guess that's why they called him Saw Teeth. Flushed it down the toilet. Guards don't seem to notice. 2/18/1929. I think I'm sick. Every time I stand up with my legs, feel like they're going to stop working and give way under me. Every time I breathe, I feel like it's stifled or hard. Every time I sit down, I feel stiff and like the world is whirling around me. I feel like I'm going to die. No, I'm going to die. At least if I get out of here. New report. Big letters on the front saying GOI 1, Chicago Spirit. 30 pages out of a much bigger report. Maybe 300 pages. Doesn't matter. I don't think I could stomach the rest. It was about their tactics, what they do to people who hurt them. Only 14 pages were actually words. The rest were pictures. People who kill their bosses get hurt. They get hurt bad. Earlier stories were of some guy named Johnny. The paper said his fingers were ripped off with pliers, eyeballs stabbed out, and penis smashed with a hammer until it was unrecognizable. Organs sent to family but stopped by postal services. They had pictures as well. His face won't leave me. 3/20/1929. You never get the images of nails jammed into a man's eyeballs out of your head. Note came with food. It was a letter. I opened it and read it. It was from Mom. It was short. She said I hoped I was doing well while at college, and that I would write soon. It was the same letter she had written for the past 5 years. I wish I had a beer. 3/29/1929. Another note, another letter from Mom. It said she hoped I was doing well at college. This time she said she lost her job and that she was doing horribly, but hoped that my studies were doing well. I chewed it up and threw it up in the toilet. 4/13/1929. Sharp asked me how I was doing here. Lied. Said he was glad I was getting used to the sight. Said if the tests and interviews continue, the doctors may allow me to talk to other patients. I think I'd prefer a shotgun in my mouth at this point. 4/15/1929. Another document in my food was my approval form. Really like the wording, Mr. Fucking Sharp. It is better to err on the side of caution in such circumstances. Fuck you. 4/16/1929. I had a nightmare last night. Sawteeth was in it. He had two sickles, and I was upside down on some table. He positioned the sickles into my mouth in opposite directions, one towards the bottom of my mouth and the other towards the roof. He stabbed them both. I felt blood pour out. It hurt. It hurt so much I couldn't scream. The only thing my body could do was feel the pain. He applied pressure on both sides of my mouth. I felt my jaw pop and fresh air fill where my jaw used to be. It felt so cold then. Then the blood came up and it felt slightly warmer. He leaned in and whispered, "This is warm up." Unknown date. Let me fucking die. 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 Let me fucking. Repeats for 2.5 pages. 5/30/1929. Asked them for a dictionary. Said it'll be here in about a year. I have all the time in the world. 9/1/1929. Received another piece of mail from my mom. Says she's coming up to meet me in Chicago and thanks me for paying for her train tickets. Threw away. 9/17/1929. Says it was a nice visit and she hopes to find an apartment soon with my money. I'm the nicest I've been in years. Threw away. 11/1/1929. She's dead. Obituary in mail. Found in river. Lynched. Couldn't even throw it away. 12/1/1929. I think the foundation broke me. 12/25/1929. I cried for the first time in the past year. Got letter. It was from the giver. He said he was sorry for everything I had ever gone through. He said that he was the one who sent the letters. Wants to protect me, he says. Thought sending the letters would motivate me and show me dangers of spirit. Worked, I suppose. Trying to get me more interactions with other people, like other mobsters. Won't happen, but it'd be a nice gesture. Also hid something else under the food. Surprised no one saw it. It was a dictionary. 1/11/1930. Another letter, same guy. Says he's been personally paying for my apartment. Says it's better than getting my stuff because it's suspicious for him to get the stuff himself. Also said he'd feel uncomfortable going to my apartment without a guard or 20. I love him. 1/19/1930. Brought me a Bible. Just the Jesus bits. The ones my mother used to tell me and force me to read. 2/15/1930. The Jewish lady died. Doctors said she'd been in the coma for the past year and was only a matter of time. I'd been in containment for 30 years. That's probably how long I'll be here. 4/30/1930. I don't think I need this diary anymore. Should probably destroy it, but that gets suspicious. They really don't care about me or anything like that, or else they would have checked in checked it by now, but I think I should keep it just in case. Plus, I'm running out of paper. No point in writing if there's no paper. Addendum 123-D. SCP Object Proposal by Dr. Herbert. Date 5/11/1930. Object SCP-123. Proposal to remove SCP-123 from containment, to change its object class from Euclid to Explained into Reintegrate. Reason: SCP-123's anomalous abilities have been proven to be non-existent. New Hume-related technology provides adequate evidence. Hume coefficient of normal human. SCP Personnel Disciplinary Form. Date 5/11/1930. Personnel: Dr. Redacted Sharp. Level 3, Site 11. Reason: interference of SCP Foundation operations, lying under oath, and general indifference to standard Foundation operations. Disciplinary action: demoted to Level 1 official, assigned to Site 43, permanent restriction of interactions with sapient objects. Note: this is the first disciplinary action Dr. Sharp has received since his initial employment. Despite this, the O5 Council has considered his actions severe enough to warrant full demotion and restrictions due to recent incident involving SCP-123. His lack of loyalty to the Foundation is worrying. Addendum 123-E. Archivist note: the following addendum was one of the early uses of electrical recording equipment specifically manufactured by the Foundation. Due to difficult development period from 1922 to 1927, very little progress was made. Despite this, the first prototype was developed in 1929 and modified in 1930. This device was more advanced for the time period and was not prone to damage. However, it was expensive to manufacture, and each Foundation site were only stocked with one device. SCP-123-X requested to talk to Foundation personnel. Dr. Herbert volunteered, but only on the condition that he was allowed access to the Foundation-issued electrical recording device. When asked, he wished to have an accurate record of the conversation. Interviewer: Dr. Herbert. Interviewee: SCP-123-X. Begin log. Mr. Trevesian, you wish to speak to me? Yeah, Doctor. I heard you were going to, sack me? Where did you hear that information? Friends? Are you referencing your mysterious friend who has been slipping you documents in your containment cell for the past 2 years? How did you know that? You admitted it in your journal. I'm surprised you didn't notice it earlier. SCP-123-X does not respond. I can give you answers to some of your questions if you like. I have been observing you for a while, since Dr. Sharp decided to study you. What does Dr. Sharp have to do with this? Everything. Who slipped those documents into my cell? Sharp, obviously. Why? To protect you, of course. Why? I don't know. I have theories, of course. What do you think? I think he knew what kind of predicament you were in. A fish out of water, so to speak. And considering what you were involved in, Chicago Spirit, Sawteeth, mobsters, he wanted to give you a helping hand. He wanted to give you information on the world, even if it was small in comparison to his personal knowledge. He gave you the Spirit documents to show you the danger involved, and how important it was for you to be anomalous. He didn't directly tell you, of course. He couldn't trust you entirely. You were a gangster after all. So, he just felt sorry for me? Yes, possibly. He may have seen a little bit of himself in you. Or maybe he got a personal thrill out of breaking the rules. Although that last theory is unlikely due to his clean record. What the hell are you people? I can't answer that, or I'd be shot. What the hell is the Chicago Spirit? Violent sociopaths with very few reservations on using violence to achieve their own ends. Stop fucking with me. Not my field of expertise. I'm a containment psychologist, not a historian or analyst. What's going to happen to me? I don't know. Not my department. However, I can tell you it isn't going to involve protecting you. Well, why? Because you're not anomalous. You can't go around protecting every street urchin who has enemies. No, you don't understand. They'll kill me. And every day we experience death and fight it. And considering the economic state of things, we can't go throwing money around. We have to use our resources sparingly and efficiently. We aren't going to waste resources and manpower protecting you or any of your gangster friends. They'll They'll fucking kill me. Not our problem. SCP-123-Ex grabs hold of Dr. Herbert's arm. Please, you have to reconsider. Please, I'll do anything. I'll work for free. I'll be a guard. I'll do whatever you want. Just please. Dr. Herbert jerks away. Get off me. Please. End log. Following the interview, Dr. Herbert requested a copy of the recording. After extensive background checks, he was allowed access to the recording. This interview, SCP-123-X, was removed from containment and custody transferred to the recently created Bureau of External Affairs, later renamed to the Department of External Affairs. SCP-123-X was released on 6/1/1930. Commentary. Access granted. On 6/29/1930, Otani Trevesian, formerly known as SCP-123, now SCP-123-X, was found dead in his small Chicago apartment, almost a month after his initial release from Foundation custody. The Chicago Police Force received reports from the hotel owner that the renter of the apartment, Otani Trevesian, had gone missing the previous week. Additionally, a rotten smell was coming from the inside the apartment. The hotel owner, fearing the worst and knowing Otani's relationship with the Chicago outfit, called the police to investigate. The police were shocked to discover the decapitated and crucified corpse of Otani Trevesian. He suffered a large amount of physical trauma before succumbing to his wounds. His head was found in the toilet, and his penis was found nailed to the inside part of the front door. One officer reported the face looked like it was screaming, and there was an unnatural amount of blood within the bathroom. Despite the evidence of a struggle, no members of the apartment reported screaming or strange sounds coming from inside. The strange circumstances of the death prompted Foundation personnel to arrive at the scene and take over the investigation, masquerading as FBI agents. Personnel discovered the remnants of various spells and enchantments on the apartment, including but not limited to muffling, physical regeneration, pyro-related spells, long-range use of removed limbs, time dilation-related spells, sensory amplification, shape-shifting, and many more. Up until this point, Otani tried to keep a low profile. He tried to rejoin the Chicago outfit, but due to his connection of Sawteeth, he was rejected out of fear. His mother had died while he was within Foundation custody. Every excuse given made no sense. What few friends he had abandoned him, seeing him as either a danger or a coward for leaving the outfit. This is an exceptional case in Foundation history, showcasing the failures of the earliest 20th century Foundation to protect falsely assumed anomalies. Otani was just one of over 10,000 false anomalies from the years of 1889 to 1930, before the invention of counters and other objective ways of determining anomalies. Modern Foundation historians and analysis estimate that anywhere from 30% to 60% of contained objects had no supernatural properties. Others, such as Anita L. Glidewell, claim that these statistics are inaccurate, as they did not include individuals who died in containment. The point of this case is to remember something incredibly important, that the Foundation is not infallible. We are not immune to horrible, wasteful travesties, that we, despite all of our current knowledge and technology, are always capable of being wrong. Additionally, it showcases what happens when we stop caring for the non-anomalous. Once it was shown that Atoni was not anomalous, he was removed from containment, a place he spent the better part of 2 years, a place where he made many connections, including the traitorous Dr. Sharp, who did everything he could to help him, and threw him out. He'd been cut off from the outside world, which contained people who wanted him dead. The upper echelons of the Foundation bureaucracy were indifferent to his and others' plight. This is why we have programs in place to remove people from the outside world, why we have programs that allow people to start over, why we remove them from the public record. It's for their own good. Foundation historian Amanda K. Richards.